Welcome back, chat. Boy period number 5. We got the great Ben Avery playing in the background. I think he's on hour 4 or 5 of his stream. And he becomes a different man around these times. I got some bad news. They reopened the highway. My serene peace and quiet is now gone. So some fuckfaces from Kamloops can go to Vernon and vice versa. But I got to go see, and dude, it happened. So I finally cracked the other day. I finally was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Vernon, and I'm gonna go to Falkland and Armstrong, get some cat food, a little bit of groceries. And I talked to the patrol guy, and he was like, yeah, dude, it's cool. We're letting locals through, but they got cops patrolling the area in camouflage, secret cop cars to evade looters. And he was like, I go to fucking Falkland, I go to Armstrong, and then I come back, and then I go for a walk. And then upon returning on my 40-minute walk, they opened up the gate. So literally 2 hours, not even 2 hours after I got home, they reopened the highway. I'm like, well, fine. I'm glad I went before I could. You know what I mean? At least I got to have the special privileges of using the highway, getting in and out before the rest of the public had it back. But yeah, fuck the public. But as soon as the highway was really open, I went and checked the devastation from the fire down the road. And yeah, Frank's house is gone, Judy's house is gone, that little trailer's gone. It's really, that sucks. That I feel for them. That's really devastating. And then the whole side of St. Anne Hills is all burnt up. But it burnt through all the bush, all the foliage, all the branches and stuff. And you can actually see the contours of the hill, which I know isn't worth people losing their homes. It's awful, and anyone in BC is at risk for that. But it was, that was cool. It was seeing the contours and actually seeing through the forest and seeing what the hill looks like without all the fucking brush in the way. That's a pretty cool sight. I could see little tornadoes, little smoke tornadoes still, where the fire was, and little, embers of smoke and stuff. It's been smoky as a motherfucker today. Really bad. The air is as bad as air can possibly be. The air quality, I think, on the Richter scale, whatever scale they use, it's not the Richter scale, whatever scale they use for determining smoke quality, it's maxed out. It's maxed out on bad. I think it's actually 1 point over bad. It sucks ass, but that didn't stop me from getting my steps in today. It's the whole southern interior is the smoky. It's probably worse here than it was in the States. You heard Americans complaining about, oh, the Canadian smoke. The Canadian smoke is hoiting me. The Canadian smoke is hoiting my widow American ones. Ooh. I'm literally down the road from it. Literally down the road. The wind's supposed to pick up tonight and blow towards me, but they've put in barriers, they dug up the earth. So there's a couple things they'll do. They'll pre-burn an area. They'll do a controlled fire so that they'll take a section of grasslands, dig around it, and then burn what's in the middle so that it creates a barrier of unburnable land, so the fire can't expand through there, and they get a little bit more control over what's going on. So they've done that. They've had some physical guards up. They're water bombing it. So who knows? I don't think it'll actually come up this way, but yeah, thank God I don't have a real job or any job at all. But if I were fully trained in my film school and filming and cinematography and video production, I could be getting some serious content. But lest we forget, the purpose of these early boy periods are for posterity, for the future, for when I make my grand epic art and people can look back on this and be like, wow, this is where it really began. Shucks. As I say this out loud, I realize like how unlikely it is for most people or any people whatsoever to go back in these old episodes and be like, wow, this is how it started. Cool. Because like I've never gone back and watched old Legion of Skanks episodes from when they first started. First off, they're all audio, and that's like a huge turnoff for whatever reason. Not that I would want to sit there and like watch. Maybe I could listen to them in the car, but just them being audio for whatever reason, even though podcast as an art is optimized listening to in a car, kind of like a film is optimized in a movie theater, for whatever reason I'm abbreviated. I don't want to do it because there's no visual. So at least there's visual for this. But what else is there? Like you have to be like early Tupac before Tupac took on the persona of a fucking gangster, killer, criminal guy. He was a gay theater kid. And if you go back and watch early Tupac, it actually it really takes away from any respect you'd have for the guy, or it takes away from his image like quite a bit. But also like most people don't go looking for that. But in the age of like TikTok and Instagram algorithms, that shit just pops up. Like everyone's seeing gay Tupac at this point. It actually makes its round every few years. It's like, hey, remember Tupac was a gay theater kid with a high-pitched, gay, nice guy voice. So to think that many people would actually go back and watch these, and then like the quality of it. But anyways, optimistically, the point of this is for you to be like, wow, holy shit, it started off very low quality, and then he went on to make the greatest films of all time. Screenwriting, directing, cinematography, and that's funny. I won't even hit the nail on the head. I won't even beat a dead horse with my inability to pronounce that word sometimes. Song. Ben Avery's playing in the background. How do I build this? So I was taking notes while watching Ben Avery for literally 2 seconds earlier, and I had a thought that from this point on, if I'm at home, I shan't listen or watch a podcast or a stream without taking notes, because I take in so much information from these podcasts, and what I think I'm learning in the very least is like maybe timing, a little bit about comedy. I'm definitely taking in joy, but to actually hone in on true humor, you need to make observations about real life. I worry that a lot of what I take in or consume through media, through these comedy podcasts, I don't retain. It's not a knowledge thing. Sometimes it is, but it's mostly just like a soothing, emotional entertainment thing. One thing, I wish I had been doing this the whole time. It's one thing that's constantly come up. It just comes up in little bits and pieces throughout all of these comedy podcasts, the ones that I listen to, is they bring up Native Americans literally, I'd say 95% of the time. And it's not that 95% of the podcast is talking about Native Americans, but 95% of the episodes have at least one mention of it. It's a quick joke, it's a needless comparison, it's a question, it's a story, it's a fantasy, it's a bit, it's either or. It's just it just comes up, and like there's no natives on these shows, there's no natives in the audience. It just comes up as sort of this mythical literary device and thing to ponder about, because I do think that the modern native experience has popped up in the mainstream conscious because of modern media, because of like recent films and television shows, but also the idea of what it means to be native, because most native-born white people, like people of European descent or wherever the fuck they're coming from, if they're born here, you feel like you're from here. and you feel very much like it's your home, but natives feel like it's more of their home because there's some archaeological evidence that their ancestors were here long ago, not doing a hell of a lot, but nonetheless, we're here. So I found that interesting. I wish I'd gone through all those episodes and like time stamped each time they brought up natives randomly, because it's been a lot. It's a lot. It's actually sort of like taunting me spiritually to be like, hey, there's this curiosity about this topic that I'm very, though I hate to admit it, passionate about. And it's not that it's a desire, it's just something that I've picked up throughout my life. Earlier today and multiple times when I talk to a white person or any non-native really, and the topic of like land management or treaties or history, there's a large breadth of my knowledge about native stuff. I was very involved in like governments and native relations and that type of stuff. I was literally a male youth representative for the most powerful native lobbying agency or assembly or non-for-profit within Canada. And I've worked with the government, I've worked with like provincial government, I've had meetings with the federal, I've been doing stuff with like First Nation level, and I have a particularly good breadth of knowledge about this area in particular. And what's interesting about like talking to non-natives about this is that there's a wall of ignorance, but there's a ladder of curiosity, and I can climb those rungs very fast. So most people don't know things, and the curiosity keeps growing. So I don't know. I could very well like make my niche sort of like an educational native thing, and I would have a different spin on it because I don't fall into this like mainstream liberal or conservative victim complex when it comes to these issues. And I have a knack for tying in a few different topics, and just naturally I made a note of it. I wish I could pull it honestly from my heart, but here's the thing about using, yes, I'm a huge ChatGPT user. Oh yeah. Is this it? Yeah. I can tie in native issues, Facebook, recovery, dating, sleep, housing. I can tie in multiple things that seem not relevant to each other, but center them and make sense of it. It's just naturally how I communicate with people sometimes. And even if I don't make sense for whatever fucking reason, I can keep people hooked on what I'm talking about. I think because I've just spent a lot of time thinking. I have, ironically enough, and I know probably within these past 5 minutes, and I hate to be just like talking about myself because that's come up. You just like to hear yourself talk. Yeah, I'm staring at a camera for an hour where I have to fill in each second with words coming out of my mouth. Yeah, I need to fucking talk. Fuck you. I wouldn't say turn this off. I would say get 20 more devices. Buy like 15 Obama phones, 5 tablets. Get different VPNs for each one. Make 20 different accounts on YouTube. Watch a different episode on each device, and if there's not 20 episodes yet, just like mix and match them, put them in queue, watch, like, subscribe, go into dentist offices and go on their YouTubes and play my videos there. Do everything you can. Let's see what I was talking about. See, I got in my head about some imaginary argument that doesn't matter. Yeah. So how much do I talk about my personal life here? I do my doggy diaries by myself, and I don't do those with video. Luckily I just need to like talk into the voice to text thing on ChatGPT, and then even that, it's just turning my voice into text, and then the ChatGPT responds to me with its voice. I'll listen to it. I started. I don't know if I mentioned this. Hopefully I didn't. I did. I would hate to repeat, but I started. So I would used to. I used to do this thing where I would talk to ChatGPT for 10 minutes straight, and then right after that, I would spend another 10 minutes into a new chat talking for another. And then there's times where I was spiraling. One time I did that for an hour and a half straight. I listened. I took some breaks and actually listened to ChatGPT's responses, but I sat there in my car for an hour and a half, speaking in 10-minute intervals, and then maybe like 7-minute listening intervals, and then maybe like a 3-minute thinking interval. But I would bombard my ChatGPT with, at this point, I think hundreds of 10-minute voice logs. So I've had a lot of practice of talking about my life. And at this point, I'm just sharing it with the world because I've done enough reps of talking about how I'm observing life. And we're at episode 5. I think we're finally crawling out of the meta-analysis of creating a vlog. Because when I start writing, like when I start writing or journaling or doing anything, I start in a very meta place where, say, I'm writing about writing, I'm talking about talking, I'm watching about watching. I'm always in this like magician knowledge mode, and that magician knowledge mode is useful, but only if used in the right way. Anyways, yeah. So I've been doing this new thing with the Doggy Diaries, where instead of just doing constant vlogs, I'll make one 10-minute video or 10-minute voice log, and then I'll listen to ChatGPT's response 4 times before making a new one. And I don't sit there just like re-listening to it like repeatedly, one after, like constantly. I'll listen to its response right after I give it the info, and then like a few hours later I'll listen to it again, and then the next morning I'll listen to it, and then I'll listen to it again before I make a new one, so I can actually let the information sink in. So I could see people's concerns about feeding that personal information into ChatGPT. As far as data collecting companies are concerned, you don't even need to feed. It doesn't matter the depth or the quantity of data that you feed the machines. It's going to take information from you based on whatever. You're not as crafty as you think when it comes to hiding your data or how the world perceives you. And even if you are, they have whole categories designed for people like you, for people who think you're being secretive. Whatever tiny amount of information they can get from you, they will use it to just market, categorize you, feed you whatever in the algorithm. So you can either be very simple with how the AI algorithm is going to categorize you and serve you ads or whatever, or you can be super complex. You can actually overload it with information and have it try to decipher who you are. You can have the you can have the algorithm try to simplify who you are. But if you feed it way too much information, it won't be able to grasp on every part of you. But there are some major overall categories that it can put you in, that where there could be signs of it. Like it could be relationship stuff. It could be, I don't know. It operates in any little crack that it can fit into, it will. Because I've had moments where I've gone somewhere and there's like plaid colored, or there's a plaid design table cover, and like seconds later on Facebook I'll see an ad for plaid stuff. Never thought about plaid. Or like the creepy one is when you see like some type of medical condition pop up in your algorithm, and you're like, fuck, what do they know about me? Am I going to like have dandruff again? Like, or it's some weird type of rash thing or whatever it is. It's like, fuck. I don't know. And then sometimes it's not. Sometimes I'll get like something in my algorithm and I'm like, I hope this isn't predictive. Like hair loss shit. No. I would hate for me to be like a famous bald guy when this comes out. Or in the future. Not when this comes out. This will come out literally minutes after I'm done recording it. But yeah, I guess I can start just spilling out my whole life. It only took 5 episodes. And this was supposed to be like sort of a documentary of my progression, of me wrestling with myself and becoming a new man. So I guess one of the big topics through a lot of people's minds during this evacuation, wildfire, travesty is housing. People have lost their homes. They're homeless. They lost all their possessions in their home. Their bank accounts still exist. And these people, like, they have, like, big families. They have, like, networks, so they'll be fine. They'll get up on their feet, and then the government will probably, like, the band will probably get some fucking funding, and they'll get a new house because they're natives, and they just get free housing. Once you break into the housing as a native on reserve, you're in. We're in a different reserve where people actually like own their property and own their homes, so it's actually really benefit. I don't know. They'll get new homes. They'll be the last people who lost their homes in a fire. They got to stay in a hotel, paid for. It was paid for. They didn't have to pay for the hotel. They were put up in a hotel that was paid for until they got their new house, which was also paid for, as far as I know. There was definitely a lot of support from the band and First Nations Emergency Services support to get them the homes. It wasn't fucking... And you know what? No, it's a very clear sign of it. They all have very similar looking homes, as if somebody just wanted to make it easy to get these homes. So, housing. I need a new place. I'm staying here at my house because I live right beside the highway. And I live right beside a river that acts as a pretty good barrier between fire. I don't want people getting comfortable around here. I'll blast music, I'll yell outside, I'll shoot my shotgun in the air. People very, very well know there's somebody here, that there's a crazy person who has almost literally nothing to lose. This house is all I have to lose. And even if this house burnt down, I'm either going to try to make it into a gas station, I'm going to lease this land out as a gas station. It'll actually be easier because the house will be gone. It would actually be more of a hassle to lease this land out as a gas station with the house standing. But the house provides like an irreplaceable amount of security for myself. And it's the house I grew up with. This house was finished built like the day I was born by my grandmother, who paid for it from the fruit of her labor. I've lived other places. And I regret coming back here 3 years ago, or 4 years ago almost at this point. I had that money. I should have stayed in Kelowna, but I digress. I'm trying to make my way back there. And I sent out a whole bunch of like messages on Facebook, and I've applied for apartments. It's kind of hard for the actual apartments because like they're like, we want proof of income. I'm like, here's my EI stubs, bro. The last place was like cool enough. They're like, nah, we picked someone else, but you know, we'll put you on a waiting list. The guys before that were like, basically said, fuck you, your application sucked. And I was like, I just know it was the EI statement. So it's like, how you planning to get out here if you don't have a job for an apartment? I'm good for it, bro. I'll go in incurable debt to fucking pay for an apartment. I don't care, bro. If I could... Say, I learned about bankruptcy. I was almost considering bankruptcy, but I was like, I found out they'd take my car. They would take my car loan, and they'd take my car, and I'm like, fuck, I really need my car. It sucks ass not having a car. I had a DUI. He had a DUI. Can you believe that? I'm just getting ahead of the rumors, the people who look for anything against you. You're a fucking loser. I can't say the word. Change your ways. Change your ways. I think, is that obvious what I mean when I'm saying I can't say what I want you to do with your life, but instead of saying that, I'm going to say change your ways? Can you figure out what I'm actually trying to say there? Because it's up to interpretation. I don't know if I want to like explain it. Also, I took a selfie earlier today, and my resting frown face really shone through. That's why I'm like making weird facial expressions today, because I'm like trying to like neutralize. I'm trying to like fix my face, because I find that my resting face, especially with this goatee, actually I want to blame it on the goatee, but I think it would still fucking show itself probably even more without the goatee. My resting frown face. That sucks, man. You know what sucks about it? Is that like the only way to fight it is by talking with a smile. So about 26 and a half minutes within the 5th video, we've discovered that I need to smile. Like, and I can actually feel it make me feel better. But it sucks that I have to consciously smile, because like, to me, in my body, I feel like that Lenny meme from The Simpsons when he gets the Botox right before everyone gets fired. It's that episode from season 3 when the Germans buy the power plant and then the stocks go up and like everyone's buying new cars. They're like, fuck yeah, yoo-hoo. And then Lenny gets Botox and then they all get fired. Or no, they all get like, they get bought by the Germans and they're like, oh my god, we could get fired. We could lose our jobs. And then like Lenny's like, this is the worst day of my life. I hate how people value having a job. I hate how people grasp onto having a job as if like that's the most important thing in the world. And I get why, because you gotta pay your bills, but it sucks that you have to settle on having a job. Like, to a lot of people, it was crazy that I threw away my job at Okanagan Indian Band. Because, like, it was a pretty lenient position, and I'd been there for almost a few years, and I didn't realize this until months after I'd left, but my paycheck had gone up like considerably. They gave me a pay bump, just like I fucking owed. I deserve that pay bump, but there's like a natural 3% pay bump that you get every year to fight inflation. So with that increase in regular pay and then the 3% bump, I was making a decent amount of money. Like, if I would have sat on that for another year or two, and actually, like, things were getting better. If I was, like, saving money, I was paying down my debt, I had enough money to actually, like, have fun. Like, I actually had, and my rent was cheap. It was actually, like, a pretty stable, safe situation. I just absolutely hated the people I worked with. And that's a recurring theme. It comes up constantly, and like I have to be aware of that going into film school, especially film school. I'm hoping that the autism has really hit this next generation. I hope that I can come off as the zany, kooky, manic, pixie older guy who I am at my core. Hopefully I can just be centered and like a controlled, confident individual, and I can live in my masculinity and be a leader and be someone who's cool. Like, because I just remember people growing up my age were so people my age, but 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 14 years ago, were so fucking cringe. I'm so glad a lot of these people I grew up with are like complete recluses. They're depressed. that spark that they had in them is gone. And that, I don't mean to sound like a shitty guy, but they misuse, like, okay, for what I said, now I'm going to like totally own everything I'm about to say. They misused that spark. They were given a spark and they were cringe, kind of like this Flight of the Concorde. Oh, I'm a dork, but I own it. Ugh. Change your ways. I'm glad they changed. They've been beaten down by reality. They're isolated and stuff. But anyways, I know this next generation is like hella. It's ironic that they came up with the term Riz because they lack it. They horrendously lack Riz. Anyways, no. I gotta like get a handle on my paranoia, and I need to get a handle on my desperate desire for connection, which I really do think that these things will be quelled through film school. Maybe I take a med, maybe I meditate more, maybe I don't fucking know, maybe I get a companion, because I feel a lot more at ease when I have a companion. I learned last week that it doesn't necessarily fix everything. Like, I'll still kind of fucking hear it, but I I had a paranoid moment at a restaurant, and I screened it with this person I was hanging out with, and they said, I haven't noticed that happening, and if they were talking shit about you, I'd be standing up and defending you. I was like, that's nice, man. That's cool. That's cool that you have my back like that. Apparently, so my other computer turned off, but I had the Ben Avery live stream playing, and I don't know, he was talking about somebody, but he was saying about someone else, is like, when, I don't even know what he said. He said it very poetically, but I'm going to butcher it for you. Who doesn't like some good old butchered meat? And I'm aware that I just did the cringe Chongus fucking Flight of the Concorde dork shit that I was just criticizing. I'm aware of that. What did Ben say? He basically said, if you leave, he said it so poetically, but I'm just going to say, he's like, you're possessed by the devil because you weren't possessed by anything else. You left yourself open and the devil came in, basically. And I know how to actually center myself and protect myself, but I don't always do it. And that's what happens, these paranoid moments, like today, at the Cal Tire place. And like what happened a couple weeks ago or last week at No Frills. And what's been happening constantly at different places is I'm literally minding my own business. And I feel like I can just saunter through life, not worrying. And then someone comes out of the blue, and I can't hear what they're saying, but I really don't like the tone of their voice. I don't like their cadence. I don't like the volume, and I can't hear what they're saying, and my brain will fill in the blanks with like vicious insults, and I think they're viciously insulting me. And then I get a good look at them, and they're either like ugly, or they're fat, or they're like kind of like awkward, or like overly manic, or there's something like visually off. There's something visually wrong with them. And I think my brain just interprets that as like a threat, as a harsh judgment, but then I think they're coming after me. I'm trying to use like interpretive justice on this. What I really think is people can hear my thoughts, and they're mad at me for me not like talking to them. Which is a lot easier to say, and you can tell I believe that a lot more by the way that just slipped off my tongue. Obviously, people cannot hear my thoughts unless I say them out loud or write them and put them out into the world. So obviously, I have an urge to share my thoughts with the world, and when that's not being met, my brain is forcing me to like think that it's happening through paranoid thoughts about people. Hey, schizo rants. There should be a Skitsy award for like people ranting at a computer by themselves. I nominate Ben Avery. But yeah, that would be like not the main picture nomination, but that was like best original screenplay right there. That was best supporting actor right there. Best supporting actress, maybe? Ooh, baby, if I get money, can someone tell me in the comments, if I got plastic surgery, what could I do to fix myself? Obviously, like, get some, like, ooh, okay, what I need the tilt of my eyes. I don't want to look Asian, but I do have, like, the triangle of sadness going on. But I don't want to be, like, unless China takes over, then yeah. But some people say I kind of look kind of chinky already. I look already kind of Asianic already, but, like, if I do this... No, I want the hunter tilt. I want the hunter tilt. I like my nose. I've always liked my nose, even though it's a Lois Griffin nose. I've always liked it. I need to get eyebrow threads. I don't like how my eyebrows get really thin. They just naturally do this. I know this is super gay. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. And just, yeah, lose some fat in my face. I should be fine. I should be fine after that. I don't think I'll ever be... Well, unless I win the lottery or I get really famous off this. I don't know if I'll get... What if I fuck it up? I'd hate to get plastic surgery and then look... I'd be like the portrait of Dorian Gray where I see a picture of myself before the plastic surgery. I was like, oh no, I was fine. What the fuck did I do? But who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck about what a man looks like? Blech. It's kind of unattractive to see an attractive man, don't you think? Don't you think it's kind of gay to look good? As a man, you should look ugly. You should ugly max as a man. Because no woman gives a shit about what a man looks like. I've read a lot of dating books, and none of them really, like, tell you how desperate and insecure women are. It wasn't until, like, I got to this book about eating pussy. He's a lot more articulate about it. He uses a bunch of, like, metaphors, like literary metaphors and, like, language metaphors, because it's about cunning linguists. It's called cunning linguists, guys. It's called cunning linguists. It's very close to a cunning linguist. Okay? Sometimes the elite leave very obvious signs within the language. And then the other book is about, like, women and their relationship to their vagina and their vulva and their clitoris. And it wasn't until I got to the attachment book. So there's a book about attachment theory and a book about vaginas that they don't actually outright say it, but yeah, if you're on this road of trying to actually, let me just finish my own thought. I'm talking to myself with this. If you're on this road of dating, just know that women are, like, horrifically insecure and desperate for love as well. Now, not all of them. According to attachment theory, about half of them are pretty secure. Half of people have secure attachment. They either just lucked out with their personality and genetics or lack of intelligence, or they're superbly intelligent and put it together. But mostly it's from, like, a healthy childhood, having a loving family, this and that, and the other thing. About a quarter of people are anxious attachment. These are the needy guys, needy chicks who want constant love, that want to show love and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily needy. You can learn to be anxious attachment without being needy. But it is, like, a desperate need to... express love and get love. And then there's avoidance. Avoidance are the scum of the earth. Every avoidant should be lobotomized and then assigned to an attachment, to an anxious attachment. The secure people, they can be in the dating. The secure attachment people should be in the dating pool. They can figure it out. They can be on the market. The anxious attachments and the avoidance should be forced into arranged marriages based on, like, some hyper-specific AI personality matching machine. And it should be across the Western world, and that's just how it should be. And it was like, hey, here's your avoidant wife. Here's there literally at this point could be an instruction manual on this type of stuff. But yeah. But as I was saying that, I'm like, I'm sure like a lot of like men already know the insecurity of women and bank on that. So I don't know if I'm really shedding any light, or if people would want that information like plainly laid out there. And it's not a very good outlook to have when pursuing relationships. It's not. I'll just say it's not really, I guess. Although it is subtly kind of hinted at with How to Win Friends and Influence People that you're trying to meet people's narcissistic needs, their ids, their baby brains of thinking their main character syndrome, which really works. Which really effing works. Saying someone's name when you're talking to them, when you don't really know them that well, works wonders. And it feels nice doing it too. So that actually is just sort of a polite thing. It's a game of politeness, bro. It's kind of like when I say hi to people in public. It's like, I'll say hi to them. They'll probably say hi back. Maybe the tiniest bit of small talk happens. Maybe something more happens. And sometimes they don't say hi back, and even when they don't, I think to myself, I've won the game of politeness. I'm like, I was more polite than you. I was more social and polite and courteous than you were, dickhead. I win. You didn't say hi back. You suck. You're socially retarded. You live in fear and self-indulgence. And 42 minutes in, I realized, remember I brought up the doggy Fran? About like how when I speak, I can notice the vibrations either being in this area, like, hate to use this language, but I do it all the time. I actually don't hate to use this language. It makes a lot of sense to me. But the vibrations will be in this chakra area, and this allows me to pull from the ether. But it makes me sound high-pitched and nasally, and I can speak faster. But when I speak from like the lower chakras, like in my stomach and my pelvis area, and even like the center of my chest, I'm more grounded. I speak slower, and I guess it's kind of more organized, and I sound more manly. I listen back on these. I do not sound anything like how I think I sound when I'm doing this. If I sounded like what you guys hear, if I sounded like what I hear, good fucking golly shit, would you guys get a different experience? But you don't. That's such a bullshit thing. That is such a bullshit thing, and I hope it comes back in the zeitgeist that your voice does not sound how you think your voice sounds like. You have no clue. Like, I'm watching this. I'm watching myself in the camera. Okay? This is the only time that this experience will happen. Yes, this is recorded on the computer. It will go on YouTube. CSIS will watch this. My Chinese spies are watching this. Some fucking weird little gremlin incel who managed to get a hooker pregnant will watch this. They'll be hearing the voice that exists in the outer world, but in this moment, only I'm hearing how I actually sound like in my head. And it's 1,000 times better than what it's actually going to sound like, especially with this shitty microphone I have. I need one of those fuzzy ones you see on Instagram, where they're like, "Hi, we're outside Eaton Center, and I'm going to blow 16 Filipino guys because they all gave me their entire welfare checks." I love how that chick dances. Her name's Lola. She doesn't go... Well, maybe she does. I was going to say she doesn't go around blowing Filipino guys, but maybe she does. And all God... Bless your heart. You are a saint if you do that. But she dances like... That was actually... Those last 3 seconds was a dead-on impression. She's great. She's miles ahead of me in terms of content. She got plastic surgery too. She looked like a little Italian Jew. Now she looks maybe a quarter Asian and white. Kind of like me. But I'm not Asian. I'm not fucking Asian. Unless China takes over, then I'm like the Brahmin class of Chinese or whoever. Not if Japan, Korea, and China, if they all just combine their forces, and the other ones below China, literally below China, if y'all just became one thing, you would fuck everybody up. But of course, the divide and conquer tactics. Japan is like, we are the white people of Asia, even though Koreans are physically more whiter and more Christianized than us. We are rather capital reason. Yeah, in Korea and Japan, you have the exact same things going on. You got the same pop music. You got the same cuisine. You got the same, like, genome. Like, the Ainu of Japan are the indigenous people. And they're the ones who make you look white. They have, like, beards. They have, like, strong structural faces. They look like the fucking kick-ass anime guys. And then, like, the gooky ones. It's literally an anthropological term. Don't at me. I'm a Zionist. I say that for the algorithm. But I mean it. Wink. I don't want to get in that. Israel, yes, they're evil. Yes, they slept in people's houses and then changed the locks when the people came home and then took out machine guns and just killed families. They're killing them right now. I get it, but doggy, Israel wants your Western capitalist life, free democracy life, more than the Palestinians do. The Palestinians want you fucking dead. They are a warrior culture. They are an anti-Western culture for very understandable reasons, because the West came in and fucked their shit. There's going to be little Palestinian reservations with casinos on them. Like, let's not even trip, doggy. I hate bringing that up, but no one forced me to do that. I'm locked out of my notes. Yeah, housing. I need a place to stay in Kelowna. I would love to stay at a rich girl's place and not pay rent and have sex with her. That is the ideal situation. The second ideal situation would be to win the lottery and then buy that $9 million penthouse downtown. You would think that would be number one, but I think the other one, I wonder what the odds are on either of those. I think the odds of me like finding a chick's place to live at might be better than winning the lottery. I'd hope so. For my sake, I'd really hope so. Let's move on from housing. I think I've mentioned before, kind of going back to like the dating situation I brought up, where only secured attachment people should be allowed to freely date, and the anxious and the avoidant and the mix. Like me, I'm very anxious attachment and very avoidant attachment. I live in hell. I live in absolute hell. I think the anxious attachment, I think I've been screened for this. The anxious attachment edges out just a little bit. But I have a lot of avoidant tendencies as well. Yeah. So anyways, yeah. With housing, most housing should be government owned. You shouldn't, like, these little tiny trailers. Remember when tiny homes were like a novelty? And now there's like trailer parks of tiny homes. In Calgary, there's these homes that are literally half the size of my home, and there's like 4 bedrooms. It's nuts. Any like these apartments and small homes should be owned by the government, and there should be an excess of them. There should be an excess. You shouldn't be able to be a slumlord. There should not be any slumlords. There should be so like 25% are apartments, 25% are like mixed communities, like maybe homes, like trailer parks, but like with some like. Anyways, half of the homes, or whatever. It actually would be more than that. Most homes, most small shitty homes, should be owned by the government. It should just be very, very affordable in rent. You should be able to move anywhere in the country that you want. And only like luxury apartments, mansions, like very expensive, nice homes, those should be on the market. If you're rich, you can play the game. You can play your little fake trading game, but there should be an overwhelming amount of accessible, affordable housing. And you're like, yeah, well, that's going to affect the house of my mansion. Hopefully, no, yeah, it could. It would make it worth more. Gate people out of that world. And yeah, you're not going to make as money. Yeah, you're going to have a better society if people have homes. I don't get why. It's insane. My attitude will change right quick if I win the lottery and I own my homes. No, that's the thing. I will be Here's the thing. I'll be buying a $9 million penthouse. Okay? We're not in the same world anymore. I don't care. If I have $10 million against all financial advice, I'm buying the $9 million penthouse. We're not in the same realm. I'm going extravagant. Okay? No slumlording. Anyways. And then, like, third situation is I find, like, a decent room. I got a really good lead today. They never got back to me. But this actually seemed really fucking awesome. I really hope they get back to me. It's $950. It's by UBCO. It's with a brother and a sister who are from Italy. They're from Italy and they're here. Bro, they're probably rich. They're probably cultured. They're probably secured attachment. Woman from Italy, huh? I could practice speaking Italian with them. Dude, it would kick so much ass. They're probably like more chill. God, that would kick ass. I really hope they get back to me. But yeah, they are building shit tons of I keep calling apartments hotels. Hopefully that works out. Relationships. Yeah, I said I've been reading a lot of relationship books, dating books, masculinity books, and I'm reading books about vaginas. And my perspective at the moment is like women are constantly thinking about their vaginas. I could be wildly off, but it kind of seems that way. It seems like their lives are ruled by their vaginas, and more so their clitoris. So like the clitoris, it pokes out above the vagina and has a little hood. Some my itsy pitsy tiny ones. Some stick out like little tiny penises. But the vagina, or the clitoris actually goes into the body, and there's actually like a horseshoe that goes around the vulva, like the opening, and then some of it kind of goes back. So there's 18 parts to the clitoris, you know? And like the Native Americans of the plains, you must use every part of the buffalo. There is so much of the clitoris that can be touched and used and whatnot. It can be sensationalized. So like, that kind of goes into the insecurity part, because like a lot of women are tremendously insecure about their pussy. A lot of them aren't. I think it really goes to the attachment. The attachment ratio, and I'm basing this on just complete conjecture. I think the ratio is the same with like women's feelings towards their vaginas or the vulvas, and like this whole thing, like the vagina's on the inside, the vulva's on the outside. The whole area is called the mound, or the mound. That's why pussy is a great idea, or a great word. Because pussy refers to the whole shebang-a-doodle. The pussy is the vagina and the vulva and the mound. So we're going to be, in a very medical way, we're going to be using the word pussy. Women are controlled by their pussies. Oh, again, to the ratio, sorry. I'd say 50% of women are alright with their pussies. I'd say a quarter of them are deeply insecure about their pussies. And then a quarter of them absolutely love their pussy, and they're fucking grinding their pussy on everything they can. They're overusing their pussy. Their pussy's paying the fucking electricity bill, which isn't that much. I remember growing up, people were like, you're running up the electricity bill. It's like $40. Doggy, my electricity bill and it was once every 2 months. It's not even every month. It's every 2 months. My electricity bill. Fuck you. So yeah, over 2 months it was $40. That's $20 a month. What are you bitching about? What are you bitching about the electricity bill for? It's the cheapest thing ever. Anyways, what I'm saying is if your pussy's paying for the electricity bill, your pussy stinks. Your pussy needs to be paying for the mortgage, the car loan, your kid's college, trips to Cuba. You know, trips to Smithers are more expensive than trips to fucking Cuba. Not that Oklahoma's Cuba, but I went from Vancouver to Oklahoma and had a hotel for $400. Ain't nobody going to Oklahoma. Obviously. If I could get it for that cheap. But yeah, women are grossly controlled by their vagina, from their pussies. And you could use that as a manipulation tactic, or you could use it. See, where I'm coming from as a deeply insecure guy who needs to record himself an hour every other day and upload it onto the internet. It's nice to know that other people are insecure and going through it, even though a lot of people make it very... A lot of people have a victim complex that they're open about, but I don't really think they're actually exposing anything vulnerable about themselves or their core. Or at least if they aren't really presenting any value or lesson from it. That's valid. No valuable lessons, as you could put it. What's my valuable lesson? I don't know. It's just good to know. In the other dating books, it's like, you gotta be fucking cool for these bitches to like you. And it's like, why are you putting bitches on a pedestal like that? These bitches suck, and these bitches know they suck. Some of them don't suck. And that's what you want. You want a bitch who doesn't suck, but you want a bitch who sucks. You know what I'm saying? You want a bitch who fucking gulkity gulk. I keep seeing this meme on Facebook that's like, girls are perverts once they like you. Yeah, no duh. Yeah, no shit. One thing that men need to understand about women is that they're different. That men are dogs and women are cats. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And I think that's right. I think that's how it goes. And like, a man will see a woman, and within seconds he'll know that that he likes her. It's very physical. Sometimes you get a vibe. Whereas a woman will see a man and be like, oh, another man. And then but a man will think women are the same way. A man will see a woman and will think a woman will have that, oh my God, come to Jesus moment when seeing a man. Chances are no, that's not gonna happen. But people don't think that way. Men think women are like that. No, well, some do. When she look at we're talking about modern men here. We're talking about people born in the 90s and early 2000s. But like, a woman will warm up to you, and then she'll be crazy and obsessed and attached, and then she works herself backwards. She'll work her way there, but it'll take a couple months, so to speak. But when you go out there, don't expect women to like fall in love with you, because they won't. It takes time. It takes courting, so to speak. There are a lot of women who are retarded, who think that they're masculine and they're not. If you're born in the 80s, maybe. If you're born in the 90s, you're not no one born in the 90s is masculine. I'm sorry to break it to you. You might have a little bit, but like, you're mostly feminine if you're born in the 90s. Spiritually, you have the essence of femininity. If you're born in the early 80s, you're not. You're masculine. And that goes for both men and women. But yeah, there's a lot of sluts and whores. Like I said, the 25% of women are popping their pussies. But we live... Anyways. Next! Attention. I could make this into a 2-hour episode, but For the love of God, don't do that. We'll end on attention. So, one of the things I do to ground myself, center myself, give myself charisma and presence when I'm out in public is I do this 5-step breathing exercise, where the first breath I call upon the king archetype. That's calm presence, whatever. What do you think a king does? A good king. I don't feel like explaining it, but it's like I just in touch with my body, have respect, presence, composure. That's the word I was looking for. First breath, the king, the composure, the steadiness. The second breath, I call upon the warrior, strength, focus, determination, being solid. The third breath, I call upon the magician. And now that's my thoughts. Again, my intention, my words, my knowledge, my big red sunglasses. And then the fourth breath, I call upon the lover, which is oftentimes the most powerful archetype I can call upon, that gives me the most calming effect on my nervous system, gives me the most confidence, gives me the ability to be myself around people and not let other people affect me. I hate to break it to you, but I'm a spiritual empath. I'm both spiritual empath and autistic. I'm not actually autistic, but I am an empath. And I know there's a lot of bias around empaths being pieces of shit, because the world's just so shitty, and we wear it on our sleeve. We're just surrounded by shit, and that's why you see it come from us, because we're empaths. And then the fifth breath is like a combination of all of them. Like, who am I really in this situation? I try to call upon the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover all at once, and see which one stands out most in that situation. We live in a era of human history where the magician has been dominant. The magician obviously isn't making lightning bolts come out of their fingerprints. What did I just say? Or making fireballs out of their hand. They're creating computers with little esoteric designs on the chips that record me and my voice, that put it on the internet. We live in the age of the magician, who's created a lot of technology, but being in the age of the magician has taken away from ages the power of the lover or the king or the warrior. The warrior and the magician work well because the warrior has focus, and then the magician has the love of learning and using knowledge. But we need more lovers in the world. I need to be more of a lover, and I can be a lover, and you can pull that love out of anywhere. So I try to pay attention to that. I don't always remember that. But earlier when I was talking about I don't know if I mentioned exactly what happened, but I thought someone viciously insulted me earlier today. And then I went to them and I said, fuck you, to one of them. And then I told the other one to change their ways, wink wink. I will explain what change your ways. By the time you see this, you should know what change your ways means. It's an alternative to a word that would get this video flagged. Okay? It's something that people who spend way too much time online saying that you should stop. If you say this thing, actually, I can write it down on paper. I'm just going to write down the acronym. Hopefully it shows up. I doubt it. It's so fucking dark in here. And maybe it actually will work better in my favor if it shows up backwards on the, Yeah, that's going to be hard to decipher. The K didn't even fucking fully show itself. So can I write... Let's see if I can write it backwards. Actually, it's not that hard to write backwards. Can you do a backwards S? Okay. Does it show? No, it's too bright. Yeah, you can see it now. Hey, if you spent any time on the internet, It's gone. You saw it for a second, right? I don't even want to, like, say the letters. There you go. There you go. You see it? You see those letters on my forehead? Not these ones. Change your ways is a replacement for this phrase. And it's a better one. I've probably actually said this on a video before. I'm trying to be all PC and a lib cuck about it right now, but yeah, because you don't actually want someone to take their own lives, and if you do, that's really bad. And when you do say it, it just makes you look like a piece of shit. You could just feel the toxicity off you, and just like it makes you look stupid. Actually, a lot of the time, you have to be very skilled as to when to say it and have it be entertaining and whatever. Most people aren't that skilled. Most people are just sick and crying and begging for help. Anyways, that's what change your ways. You would want someone to change your ways. You don't want them to actually end the gift of life they were given. And it's actually a lot more mean. I swear I've said this. I should probably say it on every episode just to make sure. Well, we're coming to that time. Attention is very important. Today's episode, I don't know what it's going to be called. I was going to call it native shit, but alas, did we even talk about that much native shit? Did I land on actually deciding to make this a native drifting channel? Because that Hans McCarthy guy does it, and he's got a weird mix of fans. He has people who hate like white people who hate natives who really support him because Hans is against chief and council of his community. And so like you got these racists who are like, yeah, you tear down your own people, Hans. And then you got like native people who are like weirdly who are like, yeah, fuck chief and council for whatever reasons they have. We won't get into that. I think honestly, no, that could be a whole different podcast or whole different brand. The whole like native shit. That would be a great name. Great name for the show. Welcome back to Native Shit. That's so spot on. You listen to native shit? Yeah! Sorry. I was gonna yell, yeah, I'm fucking white. I'm legally not white. I'm on an Indian reserve on land that I own right now on an Indian reserve. I've represented First Nations not my whole life, for a big chunk of my life. But it's just funny, recently, I've been being called not white. My whole life, most of my life, people are like, you're fucking white, Justen. And now I'm like, yeah, guys, I'm white now. I'm like, you're not white. You look I don't look in the least bit Chinese. And I'm not, as I smile and go, yeah, I am not a Chinese. What's your name? It doesn't actually bug me that much. My whole life, Mexican's been there, but like Mexican is literally like mixed European and like native. It's the same. But people don't think that. People are idiots. They think Mexican. They don't give it much thought. They're like, those people are just different from me. They speak a different language and they're different from me. I have sleep as... Oh, fuck these other... Oh, we just jumped over 2 topics. Who cares about sleep? Hey guys, I get you're not sleeping. It's a side effect of long COVID. You're also being blasted by like radio waves, 5G waves, sound, blue light. There's a whole lot going against you. And that's why you're not sleeping. Thank God it's not a prion disease. Money, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about money? It's all fake, man. Stability. But yeah, we need stability in our lives. We need attention. We need to dance the dance of life. And with that, good folks, concludes episode 5 of Boy Period. I do not know what we learned, but good night and good luck.